I feel like every single person on earth has had a McDonald's breakfast meal, and that's unfortunate. Am I supposed to say something else? Come on. Today we're making the McDonald's breakfast meal, or at least what I would consider most people's ideal one. You got the sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle, but we're maxing it all the way out. We've updated our McGriddle buns, and of course this time we're making our own homemade breakfast sausage. But I've also updated my hash brown recipe, so we got two of the best versions of themselves that have already defeated McDonald's before. So it's less about whether or not they're gonna beat McDonald's, it's more about the overarching experience of this meal beating the other one. So with all that being said, let's make this, shall we? It's like the nicest McDonald's I've ever seen. All right, we're back again in the Houston, what I call the fast food strip. I'm gonna give this an exterior score of a 7 out of 10. Look at this, they got, oh, sorry, let me get the poop out of the way. I mean, this is nice. It looks like a home almost. McDonald's more like Magnolia. Hi, can I just get 4 sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle breakfasts? That's it? Okay, thank you, bye-bye. The ranking of service, he seems like a sweet man, so I'm gonna give him a 10 out of 10. The menu, I like the new screens. I'm gonna update my score. I'm gonna give the menu a 5 out of 10. That's pretty high for McDonald's. Thank you very much. What's in here doesn't really feel solid, so it just feels like I'm holding a sack of shit, to be honest. They've really manufactured the smell of McDonald's. Old oil, let's go. So we've got the bag and the cup. All right, they started off right. If you live in hell, they literally assembled it like this. How do I eat this? Look, I used to like these when I was a kid. Take a bite of that, and then you wash it down with this. Oh God. I'll be honest, the best part of this meal is the hash brown. It's not that bad, but it is extremely greasy. McGriddle sausage patty somehow tastes like nothing. The coffee, the temperature of hot magma, and the flavor of activated charcoal. I get it. This is convenient and it's cheap. But if you want something that's actually gonna start your morning off right, then I think you're gonna wanna see this. We're back with the fast food meal of a lifetime. We've updated our McGriddle method, as well as my famous hash browns. Yes, I managed to make these hash browns even better than my other but better. That's double better. So let's begin by prepping these insane luxury level hash browns with a crunch that will literally last for hours. Far longer than McDonald's is my bet. First, you need 2 pounds or 900 grams of russet potatoes. Peel them and grate on the core side of a box grater. Add to a bowl filled with 2 quarts or 2 liters of cold water. Finger that around to rinse. Carefully drain and place on a paper towel. Then wring out as much liquid as you can. Now add those to a 5 to 6 quart Dutch oven filled with 3.5 quarts or 3 1/3 liter of just very lightly warmed or cold duck fat. Pause. Duck fat. You can also use lard, which is cheaper, or beef fat. This is like OG McDonald's stuff. They used to use animal fat, so vegetable oil is not in the question. Turn the heat on to medium and let those very gently confit in the fat for about 5 minutes, or just until the potatoes are barely tender but not mush. We don't want any color, we just want them just barely cooked through. Gently spider them out of your oil and place on a paper towel to drain lightly. Season to taste with salt and toss gently. Listen, we're not making mashed potatoes here. Handle these as if they were little tiny babies. Sprinkle 2 tablespoons or 11 grams of potato starch or cornstarch over your tiny little babies, I guess. Toss that together until evenly combined, and then all you need to do is form those into the classic McDonald's hash brown oval puck. I'm not even really sure why they were in this shape, but you know, you do you, McDonald's. Now place this under parchment-lined baking sheets and pop those brothers into the freezer for 30 minutes or all the way up to overnight. It's cool if you freeze them solid, that's fine. Save your duck fat in the pot, you will use it again. Now while we wait, it's time for our McGriddy. Yeah, make that into a dance. Right, so we're doing our own breakfast sausage for this bad boy. You're gonna have more sausage than you need. And trust me, you want that. Make the full recipe and freeze what's left over after making all of your sausage. First, you'll need 1.5 pounds or 685 grams of high-fat ground pork, around 70 to 75% lean. The best way to do that, obviously, would be to grind your own. I understand not everybody has a grinder, but if you do, I used 1 pound or 455 grams of pork Boston butt and 1/2 pound or 230 grams of pork belly. Slice it up into manageable pieces that fit in your meat grinder. You know, you got a hole that's a specific size, you can only fit specifically sized things in that hole. Don't take that the wrong way, this is a fact. Once that's ground, I added a mix of freshly chopped herbs consisting of 1.5 tablespoons or 4 grams of finely chopped fresh thyme, 1.5 tablespoons or 4 grams of finely chopped fresh marjoram, and 3 tablespoons or 7 grams of finely chopped fresh sage. Follow that with 1 tablespoon or 12 grams of light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon or 2 grams of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of red pepper flakes, 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of fresh ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon or 10 grams of kosher salt. Oh my God. Okay. 4 cloves of garlic grated, 1 tablespoon or 20 grams of maple syrup, 1 tablespoon or 17 grams of gochujang. Mix that all by hand, only to realize that you forgot to add 1/2 teaspoon or 1 gram of onion powder and 1 teaspoon or 1 gram of fennel powder. Real nice. Anyway, mix that by hand till emulsified like this. Now each sandwich is gonna get a 2.5 ounce or 70 gram piece of sausage, if you wanna be super precise. Form those into balls and keep them refrigerated till you need them. Now let's get our McGriddy cake prepped. First off, how did they get the maple syrup in there? Oh my God. Well, it's actually the easiest part of this recipe. Literally just pour 1 cup or 240 milliliters of maple syrup into a medium saucepan, set that over medium-high, bring to a boil, then lower the temp to medium, and let that reduce for 5 to 7 minutes or until it reaches a temperature of 255 to 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Pour that out onto a parchment or silpat-lined baking sheet and allow to cool until you can touch it with your hand. Be careful, it's hot sugar. It'll be a little sticky, but just snip small pieces of your maple candy and roll into small balls. You'll need a minimum of 5 to 7 of these pea-sized bad boys per McGriddle cake. And there's 2 McGriddle cakes per sandwich, so if you do the math, yeah, there you go. Make that many. Grab a friend or a family member and politely force them to help you. Now for the cake, which is basically just an extra pancake, medium bowl. Add 1.5 cups or 225 grams of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons or 9 grams of baking powder, 2.5 teaspoons or 5 grams of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon or 14 grams of white sugar. Whisk that together, then add 1 3/4 cup or 410 milliliters of whole milk, 1 egg, and 3.5 tablespoons or 39 grams of melted unsalted butter. Whisk that all together until you get a relatively smooth batter. You need a 3.5-inch ring mold. Yes, you can find them at craft stores, cooking stores, and obviously Amazon. Link in the description for the ones that I use. Heat a non-stick 10-inch pan over medium-high, spray your little ring, and place that into the center of your pan. Add a teaspoon or 2 of unsalted butter into the center of your ring mold, and once melted and bubbling, fill your ring mold about 1/3 of the way up with your batter. Make sure it's evenly spread, and don't be a silly goose here and forget your maple balls, which I've also done that before. Maybe I should get my memory checked on at this point. Anyway, add 5 to 7 maple balls, evenly distributed on top of your batter. Gently press them in so they are fully submerged, and let that cook for 2 to 3 minutes or until the bottom is nicely brown and is no longer sticking to the ring mold. Remove your mold, flip, brush the top lightly with maple syrup, and cook for 2 to 3 more minutes. Remove from the pan and allow to cool. That's it. Then just repeat with your gritty cakes until you have as many sandwiches as you need. This batter will make up to 4 to 6 sandwiches depending on how much you fill your ring mold. Now we're ready to cook and assemble. First, get a 10 to 12-inch pan, form your breakfast sausage into patties, heat the pan to medium-high until nice and hot. Now, if your pan is nonstick, you don't need to grease it at all, but you can always add a light greasing of cooking spray. Once that's hotter than the Mojave Desert in the dead of summer, add your patties and let them sear for 2 to 3 minutes, flip and sear for another 2 to 3 minutes. All you need is nice browning on both sides and for it to, of course, be cooked all the way through. And luckily for you, these are actually quite hard to overcook because of their high fat content. Repeat with all of your sausage. At this point, we're nearly there. So go ahead and put the hash browns on the fryer. Not everyone's gonna get that, and I respect that. That's okay. Heat your duck fat in the same pot to 375 Fahrenheit. Take your frozen hash browns out and add 2 to 3 at a time and fry for 4 minutes or until a gorgeous, shimmering, deep, golden brown crunch is born from duck fat, hot and fluffy on the inside, and a sinful crunch that'll vibrate your brain. Drain on a wire rack and add additional salt to taste if needed. Now, your square egg. Look, it's very basic. Doesn't have to be perfect, but 12-inch nonstick skillet was together 6 eggs. I know there are 3 in the bowl here, okay? We ran out of eggs. It happens. Anyway, heat your pan to medium, add in about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. Swirl the pan to coat. Once the butter is melted and bubbling, add in just enough egg to coat the pan. Don't add all of your eggs, add as little as you can. You want a thin layer. Let that sit and cook, evenly distributing any raw egg mixture around the pan. Once your egg is about 90% of the way cooked all the way across, add 1 slice of pepper jack cheese right in the center. Fold the right side towards the center over the cheese, then the left, the top, and finally the bottom. You should be left with a square of egg encasing your slice of jack cheese. Flip and cook the folded side to essentially glue it shut. Remove from the pan and repeat with the rest of your egg mixture. If you want this perfect, you can always trim the edges, but it's not mandatory. Now, the moment we've all waited for, assembly. 1 McGriddle cake down. Add a single slice of American cheese, to pay homage. Followed by your dripping sausage patty. Don't at me about the description because these patties are dripping due to their juiciness. Follow with your egg, and finally, your top McGriddle cake. Now that looks like a proper McGriddle, and with a side of arguably the most beautiful looking hash browns we've ever made on this channel. But wait, this isn't over until we add our very own logo to the top bun. So if you're feeling it, heat up a brand with your initials on it. Don't ask me why I have this. Once it's nice and hot, gently but swiftly press onto your top bun and sear. And now we determine our winner. Woo! Bonjour. The first thing that hits you is the sausage. You get that sort of like mapley caramelized flavor from the bun, and then the sausage comes in like pop! A little spicy, salty. This is a breakfast sandwich I would eat. My hash brown. Now these have been sitting for approximately 2 hours. Thank you very much, I rest my case. The crunch, impeccable. I think the duck fat naturally emphasizes the potato. So what if we just took these 2 things? Why not put them together? Huh? Oh my goodness. This is the ideal breakfast sandwich. Why have it separate when it can all just be one thing? It's a win, but you cannot finalize a win without a taste tester. Yeah, Vikram's back, yeah!
I love hash browns. Easy job, this is so good. You couldn't see my tears behind the mask eating this one. No flex.
I'm not doing anything, I'm literally holding it. Oh, there it goes. Hash browns in the bag. All right, I'm gonna give you 2 McGriddies.
Easy. This one's way better. The meat you can actually taste. That's the biggest difference of them all. This is kind of one tone. You can't really differentiate the difference between any of these. This one, I took a bite and I was like, okay, first the egg. The spice of the breakfast patty was what came to me first.
Little tickle in the pants.
My pants are tickled.
What does that mean? That means that's another win, but better. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed and watch all the videos, every single one of them. You can't leave your room until you're done. It's okay, he's not actually there. He's right here. B-roll.